Welcome back. So at this time of the year, with what's going on with the virus and whatever, I've been asked quite a lot about sitting in the power. I've got a lot of viewers' questions that I'm going to do like a batch recording for. But in this one, a lot of people are self-isolating. Well done to you people that are staying indoors and not going to the beach and all that kind of stuff. Just try and curb it as quickly as possible. But an exercise for sitting in the power, there are going to be variations of this, and different people have different opinions with it. So it'll just be my opinion and what I did and what I still do with my team and when I'm sitting in my power, and maybe you can take something from it. The first thing that I did was I set time aside. So right now that shouldn't be too much of an issue in setting time aside. But for me, it would have been on a Monday evening. And I decided to do that from 7 till 10 because I was always going to be about on a Monday. From 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. I was always going to be available. So I wouldn't have this need for cancelling the appointment as such. So obviously, if you're not going to be available at that given time, then do something that works with your schedule or with your diary or with your time framing. If it's best in the morning, then do it in the morning. For me, it was best in the evening. I felt a little bit more relaxed in the evening. So be mindful of when you're going to be trying to set this time aside. And it hasn't got to be religious. It hasn't got to be like every Monday like I did. It's just the way my mind works. I need like a structure, and because I need that structure, I recognise that within myself. That's why every Monday just seems to work for me, but it's not required. So what I first started to do, I was a very visual person. I needed visuals. I needed to see. Seeing is believing, isn't it? Very early on, and I needed that in the early days. I needed that in the early stages. So what I did was I sat on the Monday, and I would ask my team to step forward. This would not happen immediately. This took time. And there will be a video on it, but there was like a recognised calling card as such that would come along with that. And I'll do a video on calling cards for those of you that are really early into your development. But I would have a sensation that I knew something was there. Didn't know what. I didn't know what to expect or what to do. So I just sat with that feeling at that time, just to build up my own confidence and my own faith in recognizing that when I set this time aside, I feel slightly different. Very subtle, but I feel slightly different. And over time, I built up an image of a lady. Now, at first, I would have like a green in front of me and a couple of trees, and that sort of stuff, and a bench. I think I've done a meditation on the channel where I introduced this bench, and eventually I would just say, right, I'm going to go and sit. It's Monday, it's 7 o'clock. I'm going to go and sit. You lot talk to the ceiling as we do, and if you want to join me, you can join me. And eventually a lady joined me. This lady's just seemed like an average lady to me. There is a description, but the relationship's for me, it's not for you. It will hold no value in the video. And this lady would come along and she would sit, and she would start at one end of the bench and she would slowly shift across the bench, to which would magnify the feeling. I would be much more aware the closer she was. So I realised like they can really, really, really come close, and my awareness will pick that up more so, therefore giving me a greater experience. Over time, that changed from the bench, because eventually she would almost blend completely with me. I could still make out the difference, but she would blend completely with me, and this felt very normal for me. By 6 months down the line, let's say, it was just part of the journey that I was going through. So eventually, there would be like a fireplace, there would be a wooden stool, there would be a chair, and she would join me. Sometimes I could ask questions, and sometimes, if my mind was in the right place, I would hear an answer, or receive an answer, feel an answer, see an answer, whatever it'll be. And over time, I learned to build this relationship up. About a year later, there was another chair introduced, to which a gentleman joined the equation. Never paid really much attention to him. He just sat there, and for all intents and purposes, it just started to feel like a mother sitting beside me and a father sitting beside me, and me in the middle on a wooden stool. And I started to wear this like a second skin. It become very normal. It become there was no expectation. I would sit at that time. Sometimes nothing would be said. It would just to be sit in the company of, and then when the time was up, just leave. And this just become normal. I've got to stress that the expectation cannot be there. If you're trying to find it, if you're trying to do something, you'll find that it just won't work, or it'll just be very disjointed. I just looked forward to this quiet time. I just looked forward to sitting with these two people every week on a Monday. After a while, and I had my mind firmly in place, the disciplines were there. Eventually she would say, what's up, what's happened today, like what's going on, and that sort of stuff. And I would feel like I could have a conversation. I'm getting a little bit stressed, or circle's not really working out for me, blah blah blah. And this would go on for a period of time. So at one point I said, can you not teach me? Can you show me how to do it? To which then the whole scenario changed for me. That's how it changed. I would still sit at that time. Sometimes it would be the chairs, sometimes it would be a scene, but I didn't really know what to expect. There was no expectation. But sometimes it was just a nothing, and other times I would go through an emotional experience, or a visual experience, a color experience. I just took this as part of their developing me, they're training me, they're trying to show me a different kind of way of working. And slowly in time, I would acknowledge during the time that I had set aside the changes that I felt, or the visions that I would show. And I would do this internally within my mind. I would just say, yep, I'm aware of that. Yep, I can feel that. Yep, I can see that. Now I see blue. Now I have a scene. And slowly this database as such was being built up over time. It must have been 2 years for me, religiously 2 years, in sitting in that power, in that zone. So eventually, one day, I was introduced to a corridor, and this corridor was very small, very very small. And for those of you that have signed up for it, there's going to be a meditation going out on Facebook, not on YouTube. It's not Facebook, on YouTube. It's not even YouTube. It's on Zoom. So and I'm setting a number to a specific number, and I'm going to walk everyone through this corridor that the spirit world gave me, as part of this giving back, and part of the aspects of people that watch the channel. So it is set. Go to the website or the Facebook page to register interest if it's not already sold out. Anyway, back to the corridor. The corridor was a very small corridor. At the end was a red door. But what I was immediately aware of is I felt like I knew the place. I felt like this was mine in some way. I take in all the detail, the decor, the temperature, everything. And there was doors on the left and doors on the right. Little did I know that this corridor was going to morph and grow every time I visited the said corridor. And what started to happen was I would be mindful of an experience. So as I went to walk into the door, I would get like an anxiety or an excitement, for example. So I knew whatever was behind this door was going to be fitting for the feeling. And at first, this was quite basic, it was one of love. And then I would go in and I'd have a scene or an episode or a journey of love. That could be something that I had experienced in life, or I could be watching the scene or just feeling the scene as I go in. That would last for any length of time. Then I would come out, I'd be back at the corridor, everything feels like it reset. Then I'd make my way to another door. And this process would have been something that was maybe more to do with mediumship, like a passing condition, or how a personality feels. And so the corridor just grew and grew and grew. And with this was access to information that beforehand I wasn't able to get or have, because I simply didn't have the mark within my mind or within my mediumship. However, this journey was giving me the mark, the measure, so I could then form a statement within my mediumship. And still to this day, I still use this technique. If I don't understand something, then I have a room or a corridor or a door that I can visit that can help me through that process, where the spirit world teach me how to do that. And this is exactly what I mean when I say the spirit world can't just give you the information if you don't know the information, if you have no measure for the information. There'll be videos that come up on that. But back to this video, and the need or the wanting to sit in your power is just time for you and your team. That my version here is one where I'm showing you it's just to sit in the company of, one where I could go and talk with them and or just be with them, and one where they're teaching me through the process of mediumship, in particular as a demonstrating medium or a working medium, where I can do readings and bring forward the loved ones of the people that are in front of me, singular or as an audience. So I think that's enough for the sitting in the power. You will feel completely different. This will make you look at yourself. You will experience things that you've never experienced before. So this for me would be where the magic lies within the mediumship, you know, where you're learning the relationship, you're growing in confidence, you're growing in faith, you're growing in experiences, so on and so forth. And so this will benefit you in every way possible. And especially at this time of when we're having to isolate and that sort of stuff, why not set time aside? It's not the only way, it's not right, it's not wrong, it's just my way. People are asking me a lot to do with how I do it or what I do, and this is the relationship that I have built with the spirit world. You're going to hear a lot of stuff on Facebook, on YouTube. You're going to be offered a lot of online stuff now. So, you know, just if you're going to go through it, then maybe just see how they are. And if it sits right with you, then crack on. But if there's things that don't sit right with you, then don't be frightened to walk away. You're going to be inundated with offers and all that kind of stuff that's gonna be placed out there. My newsfeed looks ridiculous right now, so be mindful. There is no right or wrong way. This is you building your relationship with your spirit team, and this is the way that I did that, sitting in my power. So like the video if you liked it, get in the comments if there's anything you want to share with the channel or with myself. You know that I answer when I get the time. Subscribe if you aren't already, and I'll see you lot in the next video.